Evening, everyone. Rusty Mars back with another quick little couple videos. I promised them a couple days ago. I just thought I'd run over this one, and Dave, I bet you'll smile a little bit if you see this one. This is actually the Ford that I am going to do a tremendous amount of content on, just because it's so difficult to find anything. I promise it's going to help us some, but she's got the air intake to go back on, throttle body to go back on, and fender wells. Pretty much it. It's just these little plastic things here, but this truck has had some work put in it, and it's probably been one of the most patient individuals I've ever come across in my life. But I'm working a little on it now, but that's actually not the topic of this video. On this one, we're going to jump back to the Suburban briefly. A couple things I come across yesterday. If you remember, if you happen to watch the other ones, I was doing a tune-up, spark plugs. It had the rich condition flashing the check engine light. I did get the throttle body cleaned and plugs changed. And I'm going to save you a lot of hassle on this, okay? You see that steering column piece right there? It goes down to the electronic steering. This is not power steering fluid. It is an electronic motor that steers it. Take it out. That's a 15 millimeter. That's a 15 millimeter. Take it out. Take the fender well off one at a time, one wheel at a time. It will give you a lot easier access. These weren't too bad. When you come back to this one right back there, tucked in behind them AC lines at the very back of the motor by the firewall, take the fender off. It saves a ton of time. And if you've never done spark plugs, this is what turned this one into an almost absolute nightmare. One of the plugs weren't factory. It would be this one right here. All the rest were AC Delco. That one was a auto light, cross-threaded and buried about 3/4 of the way in. I snapped it coming out. Luckily, I got it tapped out without damaging the thread any further. O'Reilly's actually sells thread follower kits for that, but this was too far gone, so I just took a spark plug and a grinder, and I'll show something on that later, but notched it in 4 places and just ran it down in there just fine. It worked out perfect. And I've took her, tested her, put her through a relearn procedures, and a little tidbit on these throttle positions. When you do anything with those on these things, the relearn procedure is pretty simple. Crank it, let it idle for 3 minutes. It's going to idle rough. It's going to run, and you're going to sit there and say, oh crap, what did I do wrong? You didn't do anything. The computer's recalibrating. After it's ran for 3 minutes, kill it. Wait 60 seconds exactly. Restart it. Let it run for another 3 minutes. And this is if you don't have an OBD or a scan tool, which not everybody has one. And this one only had a relearn procedure because I've also got a phone software program that I'll go into later that helps with that. But after it's ran for that second 3-minute round, you just want to get her out. If you're in the city, try to get out to where you can get above 44 miles an hour. You need to drive that for about 10 minutes straight. Not hard on the throttle. Try to stay above 44. After you've gone that 10 minutes, then just go stop and go traffic regular. Take her home nice and easy. And it should calibrate. If you still have a little bit of a rough idle problem or anything, there's a relearn procedure for the idle. There's relearn procedures for everything. But anytime you change plugs, clean your intake system and everything, it's going to run rough for a few days. Just drive it. Don't panic on it. If you get a check engine light for any kind of misfire or anything, unless it's rich, and your engine will let you know. It will flash on that dash if it's a rich condition. If it's not rich, just drive it for a couple days and have them checked, and they're more than likely going to correlate with the relearning procedures going on the motor. But hopefully that helps. Any questions on how to get this stuff off? It's relatively simple. I think I mentioned that yesterday. Pull the red tabs, push down, push in, pull up, unhooks. That is a 5/16 or 8 millimeter, whichever one you want to go. These, for those of you that don't know, they don't pull up. Push in, push down, and then you just kind of work it back and forth. Pops right off there. I've seen a few videos of people pulling up on them tabs and they break them. Those don't pull up. And one last big nugget on these newer vehicles. If you are jumping another vehicle off, do not put your jumper cables on your battery, directly positive and negative. The vehicle being jumped, if they don't have a jump post, that's fine. This one, it's fine for the positive because that's where it is. However, you notice how that ground's hard to get to back there? If you look, right there is where you'll clamp your ground on if you're jumping another vehicle off. And the reason for this is because usually these go in some way directly to a ground point that goes to the fuse box. And more commonly than not, it blows the throttle position sensor or throttle control module fuse. I've seen it a bunch, and you'll start running bad, throwing throttle codes, and you're throwing sensors in there, and it's not doing nothing. It winds up being a fuse, and that will come from jump starting vehicles the wrong way nowadays. But yeah, she's done. Took her down the road. She's running smooth. Like I said, if you happen to do these, and this works on other Chevys too, if rather than sit there and fight it, you've got T15s and 7mm. There's not many of them, and this thing comes out relatively easy. These are 21mm. You put them back on, you need to torque them to 140 foot-pounds. Same thing on this side. The only difference on this side is, especially for that plug that was already cross-threaded, I imagine they were trying to get around that deal right there that connects your steering wheel to your electronic steering. Just take it out. It's no big deal. It comes in and out pretty easy. Like I said, on this one, I'm actually going to do the one on the diagnostics with the scan tool here next. And Dave, your favorite one's coming up. It'll be on that Ford I just showing everybody. Thank you. God bless. Have a great day.